All right, let's talk about the future. We hear it all the time, right? AI and Web3 are going to change everything. But, behind all that hype, there's this huge, messy problem that could seriously stop it all in its tracks. And it all comes down to data, specifically how we organize the absolute chaos that these amazing technologies are built on.
I mean, think about it. Our entire digital world, from your social media feed to the global financial system, it all runs on data. But here's the kicker. What if most of that data is just a jumbled mess? What happens when it's not clean, not organized, not even understandable? Well, that's exactly the problem we're going to dig into right now.
Okay, so to really get our heads around this, I think it helps to imagine data as having like two totally different personalities. You've got the super organized, neat freak on one side, and then you've got the brilliant but, let's be honest, creatively messy type on the other. Let's get to know them, shall we?
First step, we have our neat freak, structured data. This is the data where everything has its own little box, its own designated spot. We're talking about information that's perfectly arranged in rows and columns. Just think of a perfectly kept spreadsheet. It follows a really strict set of rules, or a schema, which makes it super easy and efficient to search and analyze.
And then you have its total opposite, semi-structured data. This is our creative mess. It's not a neat spreadsheet at all. It's more like a giant pile of sticky notes that have been tagged. So yeah, there's some organization there, things like JSON files or blockchain logs, but there's no rigid, fixed format. And that's cool, right? It gives you a ton of flexibility. But, and this is a big but, it becomes a real headache to manage when you have a lot of it.
So when you put these two side by side, the difference is just night and day. On one hand, you have structured data's rigid format, which is absolutely perfect for predictable stuff like data warehouses. On the other hand, you have the flexibility of semi-structured data, which is awesome for things like web APIs where the information coming in is all over the place. And right there, that's the fundamental tension we're dealing with in tech. It's this constant battle between the need for order and the need for flexibility.
Okay, so we've got these two different types of data. You might be thinking, so what? Who cares? Well, the thing is, when you start trying to build the next generation of technology, we're talking AI, we're talking Web3, this difference suddenly becomes a huge problem, a really big one. Let's call it the decentralized dilemma. So, why is this clash such a massive roadblock? Well, think about it. Modern systems, especially decentralized ones like blockchain, are just spitting out a constant flood of that messy, semi-structured data. But here's the irony. To actually work reliably and to scale up, those exact same systems desperately need the clean, predictable order that only structured data can provide. See the problem? And this data chaos, it has some really serious consequences. For starters, information gets trapped in what we call data silos, totally isolated. Data coming from different places doesn't line up, so systems just can't talk to each other properly. And all of this leads to just plain bad data quality, which makes trying to get any useful insights out of it incredibly inefficient or sometimes literally impossible.
And look, this isn't some small niche issue. Don't just take my word for it. IBM put it perfectly when they said that the vast majority of new business data today is either semi-structured or unstructured. That's not a small piece of the pie. That is the pie. This is the central challenge we're facing.
So yeah, it's messy. It's chaotic. But we don't just have to throw our hands up and live with it. The solution, it turns out, is to build a bridge. A way to connect these two very different worlds of data and finally bring some order to all that noise.
And the key here is that this isn't about picking a side. It's not structured versus semi-structured. No, the real genius is in building a system that can take the best of both worlds. It's about taking that flexible, messy input and somehow giving it the clean, consistent format of structured data.
Now, I know that might sound a little abstract, so let's make it super concrete. We're going to look at a real-world example of a company called Codatta, which is doing exactly this, building that bridge, specifically for blockchain data. Okay, so how does Codatta do it? Their process is actually pretty straightforward. It all starts with people. Actual human contributors who take that raw, messy blockchain data and add context and tags to it. Basically, they explain what it is. Then there's a validation step where a scoring system checks those annotations to make sure they're accurate and consistent. And finally, and this part is really cool, that newly structured data gets stored right back on the blockchain. Why? Because that makes it secure, reusable, and totally transparent for anyone to see and verify.
So, okay, we've built the bridge. We've turned chaos into order. Now, what's the big payoff? Well, this is where it gets really exciting. Because clean, structured data,
That is the high-octane fuel that AI and Web3 have been waiting for.
With this kind of bridge data, the benefits are just massive. Your analytics suddenly become trustworthy because you can actually rely on the inputs. Security gets a huge boost because you can trace where every single piece of data came from. But the big one, it finally allows AI and Web3 apps to scale up, to really grow, without being choked by all that data chaos. It even makes it possible to create a fair system to reward the people who are helping to create all this value.
So if there's one thing to take away from all this, it's this. Yeah, the flexibility of semi-structured data is great for getting all kinds of information into the system, but it's the order, the reliability of structured data that's going to truly unlock the incredible power and scale we're all hoping for from our future tech.
And that kind of leads us with a pretty fascinating final thought, doesn't it? We spend so much time talking about faster processors and smarter algorithms. But what if the biggest thing, the final barrier standing between us and that truly decentralized, intelligent future, is just learning how to clean up our digital mess? What do you think?